What is up, YouTube? I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. Today we're going to be going over a very controversial topic that has, in my opinion, a lot of the world kind of talking about when this topic comes up, specifically for new riders, and that's going to be you as a new rider. What CC bike should you start? And more specifically, is a 600 like this Daytona 660 too big of a bike, or is it that sweet spot where it's just good enough? I'll give you guys my personal experiences, my personal opinions in this video, because I honestly do not agree with 90% of the internet that speaks about this in the manner that they do. Because a lot of the internet, to get straight into it, a lot of the internet from my Google searches and also from every YouTube video I looked up whenever I was in the market to buy my first bike, says that you should not buy a 600 as the first bike. I do not know why they have that sentiment. I mean, I kind of understand it, but it's, for me, I obviously didn't listen to it, and I don't listen to it, and I very much disagree. So a lot of people on the internet, let's get one thing clear. If you're in a country that forces you to start on a 125, a 300, a 400, a 500, or I should say that you start off on a small bike and you gradually upgrade because you get your A1 license, your A2 license, and you guys have to go through the licensing process to get a bigger bike, by all means follow that, because that is what is governed and that is what you have to do in your country. Unlike some countries that do that, here in the United States, I could honestly have started with a liter bike, a 1000cc, if I truly wanted to. Now, I am a firm believer that a 1000cc bike for a first bike is ludicrous, and it is just a death wish in my opinion. Now, that I absolutely do not agree with, but a 600 I think is the perfect sweet spot. And that being said, one of the things that I personally think and like about this bike is the ability of speed and acceleration. So my stepbrother George, and if you guys want to see a short of him and me racing, there is no doubt about that the 600 is so much faster. He was on a Ninja 500, which I'll put a little bloop on the side of the screen. But I was riding my bike in rain mode, which is the lowest map for this bike, and I was still able to beat him by a good margin, which begs the question for me. If you are needing to get out of a sticky situation, like let's say right now I needed to accelerate really fast. That's a nice freaking Porsche, but I needed to accelerate really freaking fast, or I needed to, oh, there's two of them. But anyways, if I needed to accelerate really freaking fast for any reason, this 600 is going to get me out of that situation and get me out of that area a lot quicker than a 500. Another thing too is, in which I firmly believe, is I personally want a bike that I can grow into, that I'm going to have multiple riding seasons and still not be able to max it out. In this situation, I'd rather have a bike that I'm not utilizing to its full capacity than using a bike to its full capacity. So what I mean is, if I bought a 300 and let's say I was trying to go through the corners, and let's say for some reason I actually learned how to drag my knee on the floor, which my leaning skills are atrocious. Like, I'm not nowhere near doing that yet. But let's say I was pushing that 300 to the max. While the max might be 60 or 80 miles per hour, right, which is the 600 can obviously outclass that and outbeat that, but you have more room for error in my opinion, because you are pushing that bike to the very extreme and the very limits that bike was meant to handle. Well, a 600, you have so much more room to grow into that, in my opinion, you have less room for error in that category. Now, a lot of it, and a lot of reasons why people say you shouldn't get a 600, really, in my opinion, revolve around ego. Are you going to be buying a 600 and is your ego going to take over, and you're going to be like, oh, I'm just going to be racing everyone, or oh, I'm going to be speeding everywhere, oh, I'm going to be doing this and that? Then honestly, I am under the sentiment and the mindset that it doesn't even matter what kind of bike you have. Then if you don't check your ego, you're going to get hurt. You're going to probably do some stupid shit that you really shouldn't. And I'm going to be completely honest, it doesn't matter if you're in a 1000, a 600, or even a 300. I mean, if you're going to be going fast, you're going to be taking corners stupidly, and you're just going to be doing dumb things. yes, a bigger CC bike is going to allow you to get up to speed, a higher speed, and accelerate a lot quicker. But at the end of the day, if you're taking this corner at 50 miles per hour when you don't have the ability to, or you shouldn't, I mean, you can very much get injured on a freaking Honda Gram, a 125. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, Philip, my friend, he's been in accidents on his 250 R, which is a dual sport bike, which I think tops out like 80 miles per hour, maybe 90. And I mean, he was going maybe 30-40 miles per hour. Like that, like those kind of things don't, it doesn't matter if you're in 1,000 to 600 to 500. And I mean, like that whole like trying to put a blanket statement that, oh, 600 is too big for someone. Like, people on the internet, I'm sorry, but you guys got to stop trying to assume that what fits you fits everyone else, or like, you know what's best for every single individual, because honestly, that doesn't work. Like, for me, I'm on a 600. Yes, I'm running on a rain mode, but if you look at my tires, I'm not leaning to the degree that this bike can handle. I may never lean to that degree, but does that mean that a 600 is too big for me? Absolutely not. You know, I love having the power, the torque, and everything on hand. Does that mean I use it? No, absolutely not. Does that mean I even want to use it? No, because I've been riding on rain mode since the day I bought it. I've tried street mode, I think, twice, and oh my god, did it blow my mind. But like, for my mental, for my own ego, I know I can't have that on the daily, just because I know if I do, I might do something stupid. Does that mean I shouldn't have a 600 then? I don't agree. I still love having the power if I need it. And I mean, one day I do plan on tracking this bike and taking it to the track if there's any local around me, and then by then, you know, hopefully I have more experience. But again, all you guys who say a 600 is too big of a bike, and even on my first video when I bought this bike, I was getting comments of people saying, oh, you should have started on 300, or oh, that's too big of a bike. I'm sorry guys, and you guys might hate me for this, but you guys are insane. I want to say 90% of it is your ego. Are you going to be driving like an idiot? Are you going to be doing unsafe things? If so, again, doesn't matter what bike you have. It doesn't matter if you have a 600, 300. Like, it just doesn't matter at the end of the day. And you guys need to stop making new riders think like, oh, I have to get a 125, a 300, 400, a 500, and upgrade in that manner, because it's just nonsense. It really is. And then two other things that really you need to think about is financially. Like, buy what you can afford and comfortably, and not just the bike, but if it's your first bike, buy what you can afford with gear, because you're gonna need a helmet, you're gonna need gloves, you're gonna need a jacket, and potentially shoes. And I mean, this is all riding gear that at the end of the day could save your life. Like, it could very much make or break you, either passing out, dying, getting injured, getting road rash. Like when Philly fell, he still got injured, but like to a very lesser degree, thankfully, because he had a bionic suit, and then under or over that he had a jacket that also had some armor in it, so he was double protected, and because of that he didn't get any road rash, which is incredible. Because I mean, if not, I mean, like, look at the video. If he didn't have a helmet, he would have got injured on his head, because his helmet got a scratch on the front and in the rear whenever he rolled. And then lastly, and to me what the biggest thing is, and one of the biggest reasons why I say just, like, I would not listen to the hooligans who say, oh, a 600 is too big. And the biggest thing is, buy a bike that you're going to appreciate and love. Like, if you, like, for me personally, a lot of the 500s, they just look ugly. Like, they really just do. Like, I very much more like the 600 look. Like, before this bike, I almost bought a CBR 650R. And it's a very shallow reason, but the biggest reason I wanted that bike was the color. I mean, it's red, my favorite color. My car is red. If you guys don't know, red's my favorite color, and that was going to be one of the primary reasons I was going to buy it. Then I found out that it was a 4-cylinder, which to me honestly sounds a lot better. And then after that, I knew I didn't want a V-twin, a twin of V2, whatever the two cylinders are, or parallel twin. To me, they just sound like dog shit. So a happy middle was, obviously, no matter what bike I wanted it to be red. And then this is a 3-cylinder, which to me sounds a lot better. So all in all, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the gym, but I just want to let you guys know, and I firmly believe that you guys need to buy a bike that you guys one, resonate and you guys appreciate and love, and two, that it's gonna fit your riding style and it's gonna fit your ego. Because so many of you guys are out here saying like, oh, you need to buy a small bike, they need to buy 400, this and that, and I'm sorry guys, but I just can't agree with you guys. I think a 600 for me was probably the best choice. It's the best middle ground where I get that speed, that adrenaline, but I don't know. I think a 600 for me personally is like the very, very fine sweet spot. I wouldn't go anything above, I wouldn't go anything under. And when I say a 600, I do not mean a 600 RR. Those to me are in a different category. I mean just your standard 600s. It doesn't matter if it's a sports bike, a naked bike. I think to me that's a sweet spot. The RRs, again, if you're looking at a 600 RR, that's a whole different story, just because the power band, the power delivery, the riding style, the riding seat, it's all so much different. And even if you get something like a R7, which is more of a track bike, like even then, like, you know, there's still things to consider. But I don't know, let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think? I know some of you guys who are from other countries are going to say a 600 is way too big and shouldn't start on that, but mainly for my American people, what do you guys think? Do you think a 600 is too big of a bike? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below, and that being said, peace out.